state has not produced one iota of medical evidence that the crime Tom Robinson is charged with. There is circumstantial evidence to indicate that Mayella Ewell was beaten savagely by someone who led almost exclusively with his left. To begin with, this case should never have come to trial. The state has not produced one iota of medical evidence that the crime Tom Robinson is charged with ever took place. It has relied instead upon the testimony of two witnesses whose evidence has not only been called into serious question on cross-examination, but has been flatly contradicted by the defendant.
All right, have to stop you. So we've come a long way in our jury system. So interesting, he started off talking about what happened. Now, I'm certainly not here to criticize. Of course, this was made for a movie, but you're watching me, so I am going to comment. Nowadays, a lot of attorneys do what we would call reframing, and possibly what might have been a better approach is to start off saying why we're here instead of what happened. Obviously, I know the outcome, so maybe that's easier for me to say. What is really amazing, if you really think about it, is how old this is, and even though this is a movie, the actor, he has done a phenomenal job. So I'm certainly not here to critique him, but I also can't help putting some personal opinions that I'm going to share with you.
There is circumstantial evidence to indicate that Mayella Ewell was beaten savagely by someone who led almost exclusively with his left. And Tom Robinson now sits before you, having taken the oath with the only good hand he possesses, his right.
He's asking you, without asking you, to imagine that fact is true. Really a brilliant part.
I have nothing but pity in my heart for the chief witness for the state. She is the victim of cruel poverty and ignorance. But my pity does not extend so far as to her putting a man's life at stake, which she has done in an effort to get rid of her own guilt. Now, I say guilt, gentlemen, because it was guilt that motivated her. She's committed no crime. She has merely broken a rigid and time-honored code of our society. A code so severe that whoever breaks it is hounded from our midst, is unfit to live with. She must destroy the evidence of her offense.
So in what he's doing, he's obviously attacking this witness, which is very common. One approach, if you're going to, say, drive to California, or I'm sorry, you want to travel to California, there's different ways you can fly, drive, maybe take a train, maybe depending on where you're located, maybe take a boat. So there's different methods. He's doing something that's commonly taught.
But what was the evidence of her offense? Tom Robinson, a human being. She must put Tom Robinson away from her. Tom Robinson was to her a daily reminder of what she did. Now, what did she do? She tempted a Negro. She was white, and she tempted a Negro. She did something that in our society is unspeakable. She kissed a black man, not an old uncle, but a strong, young Negro man. No code mattered to her before she broke it, but it came crashing down on her afterwards. The witnesses for the state, with the exception of the sheriff of Macon County, have presented themselves to you gentlemen, to this court, in the cynical confidence that their testimony would not be doubted, confident that you gentlemen would go along with them on the assumption, the evil assumption, that all Negroes lie, all Negroes are basically immoral beings, all Negro men are not to be trusted around our women. An assumption that one associates with minds of their caliber, and which is in itself, gentlemen, a lie.
The other thing is, in today's society, it is hard to sit back and discuss, talk about, watch when people are separating people by race, religion, sex, and all that. Everybody should be treated equal. Impressively, this actor, if you think about it, today's society, especially a lot of movies, and people are using, monitors and everything else. Back then they had cue cards. But I don't think they had the technology to put bits and pieces together like they do today. So I guess what I'm saying in a long-winded way is his memorization skills are amazing.
Which I do not need to point out to you. And so, a quiet, humble, respectable Negro who has had the unmitigated temerity to feel sorry for a white woman has had to put his word against two white people's. The defendant is not guilty. But somebody in this courtroom is. Now, gentlemen, in this country, our courts are the great levelers. In our courts, all men are created equal. I'm no idealist. To believe firmly in the integrity of our courts and of our jury system, that's no ideal to me. That is a living, working reality. Now, I am confident that you gentlemen will review without passion the evidence that you have heard, come to a decision, and restore this man to his family. In the name of God, do your duty. In the name of God, believe Tom Robinson.
Okay, so what'd you think? It did very well for many, many years. And the court system's changed some, and now you can see attorneys in real cases, and there's so many great, great attorneys out there that do killer closings. You really should see the movie, and I'm not going to spoil the outcome, because I'd love to know what you think, which way you would have gone. But given a general closing, the way he did it, he did a lot of things well. And it's amazing because, you always hear about these closings that go 45 minutes, an hour. And I think this closing was less than 8 minutes, which sometimes less is more, less is better. And I'm going to leave you with one thing. We all have to look at ourselves and what is our attention span. So how long can you keep the jurors' attention? And that's another reason I would not suggest you do long closings. But anyway, great movie. You decide for yourself. I'm Darryl Isaacs, the Kentucky Hammer, and I'll see you next time.